Hello and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys, the masters of the geeky verse. Well, welcome back, Geek Freaks. I'm TC, joined as always by JJ
What's up, guys? How are you?
and Toy Story.
What's up?
Before we get into our episode today, we're going to be we're doing our awesome 80s movie review of Ghostbusters, the first Ghostbusters from 1984. We want to ask you to make sure that if you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. See that little bell over there? Hit that bell button. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere over here. That gives you your alerts.
Good.
So you know when we get a new episode.
And that's a real bell. That's not an effect.
And add in. Oh, yeah. Don't do that again, please. You're making you just made my dog go crazy. Got the bell. Go lay down.
Sorry.
And just comment and get involved. You can reach out to us on Instagram and places like that at LI Comic Guys or at Don't Feed the Geeks Pasta. All right. Well, let's take it away. Let's talking
do it.
Ghostbusters 1984. Ghostbusters, not any other Ghostbusters. The one that started it all. I actually, before we get into it, I wrote down some fun facts about this movie.
Oh, let's hear it. This is good.
So from the entirety of the movie, what was scripted was not pretty much what you saw that came out. Almost all of it was ad-libbed by the cast. Pretty much nothing that was written for Bill Murray was was from the script.
Oh my god!
So it was pretty much an ad-lib movie for the most part.
That's awesome.
So this was funny too. So this was originally written by Dan Aykroyd years ago. Peter Venkman was actually going to be what the hell's his name? John Belushi.
Correct.
And he died like when it was making, and I guess like when it was supposed to be. So I read it was going to be like this epic thing, like in the future, where there was like, Ghostbusters all over the country, and like they were in like the main headquarters. It sounded pretty awesome. Like I hope they eventually do something like that because it sounded cool. But the studio decided that was a little bit too much. Harold Ramis, who plays Egon, he decided that we'll get together, we'll rewrite this. Him, Dan. And I think somebody else, I forgot who the other person was. Maybe it was the guy who directed it, kind of revamped the story a little bit. And they got pretty much what, close to what we had. And I guess for those of you who know, Slimer, he was kind of considered, the fat slob who was eating all the food. That was actually based on Belushi. So, yeah, he was based on Belushi. And that was kind of like, the tribute to him in that scene. And another thing too. So actually, he just wanted to be so Hal Ramis was originally just going to be a writer on it, but they couldn't find anybody to do Egon like the way they had envisioned. So he's like, all right, I'll just do Egon pretty much. What was the other fun facts that I had here? Just one. Winston originally was supposed to be portrayed by Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy turned the role down. So when Eddie Murphy was involved, he was supposed to be with them from the beginning of the movie. He would have actually been the one who gets slimed by Slimer in the beginning. So after he decided not to, they kind of cut the role a little bit, and they went with what's his name? What's this guy's name on the other side? I'm drawing a blank.
Ernie
Hudson.
There you go.
Hudson.
Yeah, I just needed the help with the first name.
Yep.
So then they went with Ernie Hudson. Ernie Hudson says he loved the role and everything. He goes, I feel like they cut my character a little short. Because I guess you read the original script that was supposed to be Eddie's character.
Okay.
So another fun fact here. Do you guys know, well, you guys might know, but do you know what the name of the ghost is in the Ghostbusters theme? Like the image, the Ghostbuster image?
No.
His name is Moogly.
Moogly?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Really? I actually didn't know that.
Huh. Yeah. So that's his name.
Okay.
So, and I think a lot of this was like loosely based on like some haunted house experiences Dan Aykroyd had as a kid, like growing up in like Canada or something like that. I think he lived in like a farmhouse. I'm curious if this new movie that's going to come out dives into like some of that stuff.
Well,
And
doesn't it take place on a farm? This newer stuff.
yeah, this new one. So maybe they might steal a little bit from that. So the last piece of like fun fact stuff I have here, and anyone who's actually seen the movies that made us will know this. So a lot of the scenes where they use the name Ghostbusters was actually filmed twice because during the filming of this, they were fighting with Filmation, who you guys might know. There's a Ghostbusters cartoon called Ghostbusters. It was by Filmation. It wasn't a very good cartoon, but they had the rights, so they were literally fighting like the whole way up until like when the movie was supposed to be released to get the name Ghostbusters. So I guess they were using Ghost Breakers, and there might have been like another name that they were also using in at the same time. So a lot of the scenes were like, even like the end scene where they're like Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters. They were also saying, all right, now you have to do Ghost Breakers, Ghost Breakers. So like a lot of those scenes had to be filmed twice, but luckily they eventually got the name, and it's obviously Ghostbusters.
That's
There
funny.
you go. Hey, I got two more. Can I add? So
Absolutely.
this film did receive 2 Oscar nominations during the 57th Academy Awards. They did lose, but it was more for visual effects and stuff like that, which is, I mean, that's huge for a movie like this back in 1984.
That's great.
And then last, I mean, I'm surprised maybe you knew this, TC, but who was the other guy that read for Venkman's character?
There was a few people. I forgot. I didn't add it in, but was it like Harrison Ford or something?
So this person, because he's a fast talker and very sarcastic on the
Steve
screen.
Gutenberg?
He read the part and was cast at the time, but then Bill Murray came in and expressed interest on it and said, "I'm going to do this now." And the other guy
was it Steve Gutenberg?
It was no, it was not. It was Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Really?
I heard Michael Keaton.
Wow.
Michael Keaton was one of them. Steve Gutenberg was interested as well, but I think around the same time he got Police Academy. So there was a few people who like showed serious interest in the Venkman character for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. I did not know that at the time when I was reading this that he read for it and was cast at the time.
That's pretty cool.
So JJ, you had mentioned something. You know, they got nominated for special effects award. How do you think the movie stands the test of time, and like in terms of like FX and stuff like that? Like, what do you guys think?
I mean, I think this set the tone for what we got now. I mean, if you think about, because there were no, I mean, back then I think ghost movies were more of like sheets of guys coming up and, smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. I mean, this was, Slimer at the time. I mean, he was a puppet where they took him and, put the green, glow in the dark on him and went that route. And here we had, zombies at the time, as a cab driver.
Yeah.
So that was, I would think that was new back in the day. And I think, what we see now came from that.
Yeah, the practical effects in this were actually fantastic. Any of the special effects, I mean, like the Zool and the Gatekeeper, like some of that dog stuff, like the motion capture, like you can tell that that's like a little dated, but it doesn't look bad. Like it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. Like you could tell it was like state of the art at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I watched it, and I was just like, it doesn't feel like I'm watching like something like, oh my god, like cringeworthy in terms of like graphics and like FX and stuff.
I agree. It's definitely not quick cringeworthy, and it's definitely good for the time.
The only problem now with these type of movies from back then and with these FX, with these visual effects and stuff like that is, we have our screens are more higher definition, very crisp and everything.
You notice imperfections.
You notice everything. Just like, the scene where, the Ghostbusters come up to the hotel at the very end and, the ground opens up and the cars are turning and the whole street opens up. And you'll notice that when the cars are, when the street is moving up, what was supposed to be dirt, it's more of like brown sheets, like bed sheets, and you can see it moving. It's supposed to be dirt, but you see it moving to hide all the animatronics.
So I missed that.
it's you pick this stuff up because your screens are so big now, and it's very funny. And the same thing with the acting. I mean, because your screens are so big and you can see the people in the background. I know that there's bloopers out there. Some of these extras that were in the background. Jumping for joy when they're supposed to be upset. And there's a scene where when the ground is opening up, there's a girl right in the front. She's a young girl, probably in her 20s, younger, and she just faints. She falls down and faints, and you're like, why did she do that? Like it was so funny to see. You pay more attention to what's going on in the background.
Yeah,
and you just wonder what were these people doing.
Another fun fact: one of the people in the background, I couldn't see where he was, but apparently Ron Jeremy was also one of the extras in the background during that scene.
Oh
wow! So are there any I gotta be honest, for me, this is one of Bill Murray's greatest roles. I love him in this. The cast just together, him, Dan Aykroyd.
The chemistry is insane.
The chemistry is so great.
And I think that a lot of that comes from the ad libbing. Since it
100%.
wasn't
You could
scripted,
tell
it doesn't feel scripted because it wasn't scripted.
Right. It was very off the cuff for sure. Do you guys think anybody kind of stole the scene? You kind of stole the show, or
I'm not gonna say stole the show, but the most enjoyable scenes for me were with the guy with Rick Moranis' character.
It's funny that you said that because I was thinking the same thing. Rick Moranis's
oh my god, when he's having that party and he's just talking and he's introducing this is so and so.
This is Betty Veronica. He makes $15,000. He's a small town insurance.
And they've got $15,000 left on their mortgages at 8%. What? It just keeps going.
Yeah, he's everyone's personal Tully.
It's amazing. Yeah. Oh my god, that was the character that I was most excited to see whenever he came on screen.
Oh yeah, he did such a great job.
And he's like that with any movie. When you see him in a movie back in that time frame, he is on point. He fits every character that he plays. Everything from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids to that it just. He's such a great actor, and I can't wait to see more from him.
And another fun fact: so another person who was up for that role was actually John Candy.
I believe it.
Who was also on that Canadian variety show with them as well, with Rick Moranis.
Yeah, and they were all part of. I don't know about Rick Moranis, but he was part of Saturday Night Live also. So all these guys came from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, well, yeah. I think Harold Ramis wrote for them at some point.
Yeah.
Bill Murray was from it. I think Chevy Chase was up for a role that he wound up not getting. Obviously, Dan Aykroyd was a part of it too. But, it was these were huge comedians at the time. Even Eddie Murphy, when he was up for the role of Winston, he was at the time, I think, just coming off of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. But, and even the locations scenes for this movie, you can still go to a lot of these today. You got the New York Public Library, you got the firehouse, which is still operational. You can go there. It's still a firehouse.
It has a huge thing on the ground. They have a huge painted thing of the Ghostbuster symbol on the ground.
And their trucks have the Ghostbuster symbol on them. If you ever see the trucks, awesome. They do have that on there too. It's really cool. And this is what's great about this movie is you can actually go to these filming locations and there they are. I don't know about the hotel, but everything else.
Yeah, I think some of it was where they stayed. I think the outside was somewhere in Central Park West, but the top was someplace in St. Louis. They filmed most of it between LA and New York.
Yeah.
So JJ, did you have someone who stole the show or an underrated character?
Underrated? Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I wanted more screen time from him.
I'm surprised how iconic he is and how little he's in it.
It's crazy. As a kid, I always forgot he was in that movie.
I know.
He's such a great. I'd like to see more from him. Him just stopping down the road.
It's almost like the Boba Fett of this movie,
right? Thank you. And
I feel like Boba Fett's in it plenty.
Yeah. I just wish he got more screen time. I'd like to have seen him stomp on a car or do something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But no, I like that character. It was fun. And and if you watch part 2 to this movie, it was the Statue of Liberty was his equivalent to that. It just wasn't as good. Bring back the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Well, the Statue of Liberty was more on a tool that they used.
Yeah.
What about favorite scenes? Do we have any favorite scenes? Mine's probably going to be unexpected, I think.
Go ahead.
Mine is actually the opening scene with Peter Venkman, where he's doing like that psychology test or like the
That's funny. Yeah, that's a really good one.
test. I love
That
that.
was mine.
That's a really good one. That's a good one.
I love that scene where he's like basically flirting with the girl and like he zaps the guy even after he gets like the answer, right?
Yeah.
I always love that part. Like
I love the part where his gum falls out. He's like, "Stop doing that!" And the gum falls.
He's like, "Keep your $5." He goes, "I will."
That's a great scene.
So good. He's just great in that movie. I mean, Bill Murray is just like, this was like Bill Murray at the height of Bill Murray.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I know people love Stripes and he's great in Stripes too, but he's just like, he has probably less lines in it, but they hit even harder. I heard like behind the scenes, like when they were, the girl who plays like the villain at the end, I mean, what's her name? Gozer. It was played by this like foreign woman. And she said like she was supposed to say something and it sounded like prostitutes and like donuts, and he goes, no, we don't have any prostitutes and donuts here or something like that. And they're like, all right, we're probably gonna have to voice over this woman. So he basically like shamed her into getting voiced over at that point.
I don't think there was really a bad scene in the movie. I mean, the whole thing flowed great. I mean, it was just everything was comedic. I mean, it's your typical 80s movie, you know. I
mean, that's a great point. Like, if I were to think of a part that like didn't fit in the movie, I don't know if I could think of one. It's funny because sometimes I think like which was from part one and which was part two, and then there's just like there's always good parts in this. There's just nothing that like seemed out of place. It was just really well done. I do love the second one too, but I love this movie so much. It was like. Is it's an iconic movie for sure.
Really is, yeah.
Out of all the movies we've done, this is definitely like the biggest movie we've probably reviewed to date so far. We've done a lot of like under the radar movies. This is like a major one.
For sure.
And the other fantastic actress we got is Annie Potts. I mean, she was fantastic.
She's another one.
And she was great in this. And you know, maybe I'd like to see more flirting with Egon, you know.
So it's funny. They said that was like originally part of the script. They were supposed to develop a lot more of like chemistry because they allude in this new movie that those two got together and had a kid because that woman in the new movie is supposed to be the daughter of Egon and her because Annie Potts is in the new movie.
Is she?
Yeah, there's a scene I saw with her in it.
Good.
So. Yeah, she was fantastic in it. And that villain, so the guy who played Peck, right? The guy from the EPA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like he's he's been like nailed a bit. I guess like he like yelled at someone or like he like got mad at Dan Aykroyd after he saw him or something like that. And he goes like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Great." I was like, "I just got yelled at by a bunch of kids on a bus and they were all calling me dickless." That's probably my second favorite scene in the movie.
That's my favorite scene. That's what I was gonna say.
Go ahead. Yeah.
That's the one I've remembered from. I've seen this movie years ago, you know, and this was the first time I rewatched it in a while. But that's the one scene that I always remember.
Yeah, like, and I'll say it so anyone who's under the age of like 13, you may want to close your ears, but Dan Aykroyd's like, "Oh, everything was going fine until Dickless here turned off the power source," and then I forgot who asked, "Is this true?" And you know, Bill Murray's just like, "Yes, it's true. This man has no
That had to have been ad-libbed.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my God,
he's just so good.
Let's go back here real quick because doesn't the second movie? Now I don't want to go too much into the second movie, but doesn't Annie Potts and Rick Moranis character get together in that?
Yeah, so it goes in a different direction. So they kind of abandoned that storyline. So hopefully it kind of clears up what happens in the new movie. But yeah, you're 100% right, JJ.
Interesting. That whole office scene with the mayor and the eminence, like,
I love that. That's just like a great scene.
I would have loved to have been in that just to hear what was going on, because you've got people there that are acting who, I would think that the guys that the Ghostbuster guys, most of those guys, they can ad lib all this stuff because they're used to doing it on Saturday Night Live. But then you got these other actors who are probably not too hip on doing that. Like, there must have been some clashes, or just not clashes, but just laughing all the time.
Like character breaks.
Can't hold your composure.
Yeah, like how many different
takes
are completely different from what we got on screen.
Yeah. Oh man, I would have loved to see the gag reel on that. I'll tell you that much.
For real.
But yeah, that was a great scene too. Um, so and another one, it's funny. So before, and there's just so many fun facts about this. So I don't know if you realized this, but so that guy who played Peck, he was also the bad guy. He was like the journalist in Die Hard, who
Yes.
also is in this movie is Reginald Johnson, I believe is his name, who plays like the cop who says Ghostbusters, like the mayor wants to see you, who's the guy from Family Matters, who this guy I think has played a cop in every role he's ever been in. He's also a cop in Die Hard as well. He's the guy outside on the phone with him, which is another movie we have to review. Maybe that would be the Christmas movie we review this year. But yeah, like it's just like another like character actor. Like you see so many people in this, and it's just like, you know, I think even Larry King shows up in this. Like it's just like so many people. I mean, we haven't even touched on Sigourney Weaver. Like Sigourney Weaver is great in this too.
She's
There's so many
fantastic.
great people.
Another one, and she again, that's somebody who doesn't fit in the you know, the Saturday Night Live role. You know, and here we got, you know, I don't think she could have ad-libbed a lot of that.
So it's funny because I guess she had done some like comedy stuff when she was younger, and she'd like done some performances, and like was so much the reason she wanted to do it is like, oh, I'm always in the serious stuff, and like, you know, I really enjoy doing, you know, comedy stuff, and that's kind of like why she wanted to do this role. And I guess she changed like some of the lines too. Like I guess the line where she calls him like, "Oh, you're more like a game show host." Like, the line was different, but she's like, I feel like game show host fits this better, because I think it was like originally supposed to be, "Oh, you're more like a used car salesman." She's like, "No, she's like, you're more like a game show host." And it's funny because in the second one he becomes a game show host, which is great. So let's talk about like the phenomenon that this happens, like, you know, the effect it has on pop culture. I mean, you know, it's still to this day, if someone says the words, you know, poses the question, who are you going to call? Like, I say Ghostbusters right away.
Yeah, of course.
You know, this is like
even if you haven't seen the movie, you know,
36 years later, like, you know, you can't ask who you're going to call and like not get that answer.
And that's all. And that's all from the, you know, the '84 hit by Ray Parker. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the song goes.
Well, there's even more people in that movie. I think John Candy, like people who didn't make it into the movie, who were interested in the movie, I think wound up making it into that music
video.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, like it had a 7-season cartoon, The Real Ghostbusters, which I loved. I probably watched that like crazy. Egon was always my favorite character growing up. I don't know what it was about Egon, but I loved Egon on the cartoon. And this, like the toys they had so many toys. I mean, like, you know, Stranger Things touches on this, but being a Ghostbuster as a kid, like that was like a must. Like everybody wanted to be a Ghostbuster. Everybody wanted to have a proton pack. I had a proton pack. The thing that always got away from me that I never got that I wanted was the trap. And it was just like, that was the thing that you couldn't find. I remember there was kids who had it. It's like, you bastards, you have the trap. I wanted the trap. I did have the Ghostbusters house though, with like the ooze you poured down through the top, and like that stuff like turned hard and it flaked off the thing for the rest of the life of the Ghostbusters house. But I mean, there was just so many like things that came out of it. I mean, you know, a sequel, obviously, I don't even know if they wanted to do a sequel, but I mean, I love the sequel. You know, maybe we'll have to do that one day too. But Janusz, like the weird like European guy in that, and I feel like that movie is actually scarier. And they said, oh, they went with a lighter tone. I was like, no way. I feel like Vigo was much scarier than the girl at the end of this one. And like it was like Stay Puffed. It was just like, I definitely got a scarier vibe from the second one.
So I was a little older when this movie came out. I think it was like 13, 14 years old. Like, so I didn't play with the toys. I knew that they were out there, but that wasn't my thing. And, you know, I knew that the costumes they had for the kids, you know, but what I do remember is the high C ecto coolers.
Yes.
Which, you know, that, and again, you know, we had food merchandise off a movie. I mean, these were a huge hit. And then, you know, eventually High C stopped making them, and, you know, people were scrambling trying to get these things, like, and they're bringing them back from what I understand.
So people for years were trying to like make it on their own. Matt, did you ever, were they still hanging around when you were a kid? Like that ecto cooler from?
Oh yeah, of course. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Halloween costumes everywhere.
Yeah.
No, but the actual drink though from High C.
Oh, that I have no idea. I've never seen.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like a green, like High C. Do you know what High C is? Like the juice.
Yeah, I know High C. I've never seen the Ghostbusters.
There's one called Ecto Cooler, and like Slimer was on the box, and like people are like, love this stuff. Like they're like people like try to find the recipe and make it at home, and I think it's finally making a comeback.
It's coming back. Yep.
That's
That's
funny.
awesome.
Did it taste differently?
It was kind of like an orange, like lime, like it was like
Yeah.
definitely a citrus flavor, but it was just green. Like the color was actually green,
That's
Yeah.
terrible.
which is
Yeah,
awesome.
and over the years we've had comic books. You know, IDW was very successful in their comic book line of the Ghostbusters. There's a lot out there, and the video game market on this. I mean, there's been a lot of video games from the Atari all the way up until now. You know, the
I played the
PS4,
arcade games at Barcade.
the arcade games. Yep.
Oh, is there an arcade game at Barcade?
There's at one of the barcades. I don't remember which one.
Oh wow! I don't remember playing that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it definitely had like a huge effect on culture. I mean, even like the car is in the 80s was probably as big as the other vehicles, like the Batman vehicle. I mean, JJ, I'm sure you saw
my God,
an
that's
Ecto
iconic.
one at EternalCon recently.
And that's the other thing. They've got their own cosplay groups, like the Star Wars 500 First. It's a huge community, and these are people, and some of these people are younger than me, younger than the Toy Story here. It's good to see that these younger kids are dressing up like Ghostbusters here in 2021.
Yeah,
from a movie from 1984.
I mean, it's funny that those kids in Stranger Things dressed up, and now one of them is going to be in a Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty surreal when you think about stuff like that. It's actually awesome. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a fantastic movie. Definitely the best one that we've watched so far. Do you guys have a grade, or do you have? Oh well, before we get into that, did anybody else want to say anything about the movie?
I don't think so. I think we hit it on the nail. Yeah, I think that.
I'm sick of the song. That's the only thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I like
I can't
the song.
say. I can't. I've heard that song so many times. I can't stand it anymore.
I think the song is great.
Yeah, I'm not tired of it.
And when my kids hear, like if it's on my my Sirius radio, like they'll sing along to it. Like it's
great. It's great. I'm just
it's iconic, and it's
totally iconic.
I mean, Noelle's never seen the movie, but she knows the song.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So Toy Story, how about you go first with the grade this time, since I went with something else before?
It's a classic. It set the stage for so much to come after it. I feel like it's a movie I could watch over and over. I can't give it any less than a 9, I feel like. 9-0.
9-0, nice. JJ,
Okay.
what about you?
It's a classic. I grew up with it. I remember seeing it in the theater back in '84 right here locally in Massapequa, the Sunrise Mall. I remember seeing it there. I go with a 9.6 on this one because it's a movie that I grew up with. I've seen it so many times. It's one of those movies. If you're channel surfing and it's there, you have to turn it on. You have to watch it.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. My grade's just a little hair lower. I'm going with 9.2, so kind of in the middle of both of you.
Did you not pick 9.4 just because you hate 9.4?
And I didn't pick it.
That's probably why.
on my grade list here, I have a 9.4, but I know you don't like 9.4, and I'm like, I'm not going to give it a 9.4. I'm going to give it a 9.6. No, I'm not going to go down. I'm going to go up.
You know what? I'm going to give it a 9.4. I can't again. It's. I mean, it's almost perfect. I mean, maybe there's like certain things that don't just keep it from that 9.8 level. But I mean, I love this movie. If it's on, I'm watching it. I mean, I love the second one too. Like my little brother, who now he's 21, he used to refer to the Ghostbusters 2 movie as the baby movie. Like as a baby, he would watch this constantly. I was like, this is a scary movie, and like he would watch that and The Mummy like constantly as a kid. So. I just love both those movies, and it's a great freaking franchise. I can't wait for this new movie to come out, and that's kind of like what kind of inspired us to do this movie as as a review. So
I want to see this. I want to watch Ghostbusters 2 now. I have to because we've watched this one, and
I've never seen 2, so I got to watch it.
I will
never. You definitely have to watch it. It's really good. It's a fun movie.
I will never watch that reboot movie with the girls. That will never be on my watch list.
I just heard it was like so like bad. Like, it's like harmful to the legacy kind of. Yep. I don't care if like they want to try something new with girls. That's not my issue, but like do it well. I heard it was like they made it
not
more
good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great movie, and let us know. Like, reach out to us if you've never seen it. Watch it. Let us know. Absolutely. If you have different thoughts about the movie, or if there's a favorite scene you had or a favorite character, let us know. We're excited to hear that. That's kind of one of the reasons why we want to do these movie reviews, and it lets us revisit movies that we've loved or maybe have never seen from the past. But we like sharing our thoughts with you guys as well. So that's it from me. Do you guys have anything else?
No, I think that was good.
I would have to say, who are you going to call?